So tell us about yourself and how you got involved in this work.
hmm Well, so my name is Jose Ramirez Fernandez, and I used to work with small mammals. So that's how I get involved into this project because I get contacts by Jim Sanderson with small wildcats. And before this project, actually, I didn't know anything about small wildcats, but then I started to getting into this world, and right now I love it. So I work in rural communities. I work with people, and our project is about repairing uh, chicken houses or on chicken coops for the people in rural communities, so they don't have problems with attacks to the chickens. We prevent not just the killing of small wild cats, but also of other wildlife or carnivores that get involved into chicken coops attacks. And our project buys the building materials so people can repair their own hen houses. And then we monitor and we do an inspection of the hen houses to see how they are working, what animals they get involved with the attacks, and to identify some vulnerability points of the chicken houses so we can work on them, repair them, and avoid the same situation that has been happening for years.
How do people find you?
Sorry?
How do people find you when they're having problems with their chickens being killed by predators? How do they know to reach you?
Well, right now we have been focused on working in a community in the south of Costa Rica, which is called Herradura de Rivas. And so the people all around knows about us because people talks about the project and everything. And in other zones, right now there's a project I am. It's not my own project, but I'm helping them in the north of Costa Rica, which they are working also with chicken repairing chicken coops. So right now we have people in the north that knows about the situation, people in the south, and sometimes we got some calls of people or people send us videos, and we use a lot of social media to publish our work. So the people looks into social media that we are working with hen houses, and then we receive a random call of someone that has an ocelot inside their hen house or a margay or whatever. And if we are able, we go and we help them with the animals. We also have a team of veterinarians that like to check the health status of these animals that get trapped inside the chicken houses, because we want to uh, be sure that they are in a good health status before releasing them into the wild again. So if we have this opportunity, we do a good health check. And if we don't have this opportunity of getting to the place while the animal is still inside the chicken house, then we just ask the people if they know what kind of animal it was, if they know by where they get inside the chicken house. And so we give them materials if they already know what kind of materials they will need to repair their hen houses, or we just give them our own ideas if they doesn't know how to start.
Do people typically have like iPhones to be able to take pictures and videos of the animals so that they can identify the animal to you?
Yeah, normally they do. I mean, it's like most people in Costa Rica has a cell phone, and all cell phones have a camera. So yeah, sometimes we receive videos and pictures of this of an ocelot inside a house. Um, but normally it happens like very fast. So normally the people doesn't have like this reaction of bringing the phone. The first thing they think is that their chickens are being killed, and they are losing money, and they are losing meat also, because these people is normally people with low economic incomes. So to lose one chicken means a lot for them. So yeah, normally the first reaction is to take the flash a lamp or something and go to the chicken house in the night to see what's happening. But they doesn't have the time to bring the phone. But sometimes we receive videos and pictures.
What are the chicken houses made of? Is it mostly lumber and wire, or what is it that you typically have to supply?
Most of all, they use wood and zinc, like this how to call it, like Yeah, metal sheets. So they put this like these metal sheets with also with wire and wood. But yeah, normally they just use like the materials that they take the roof out of their house. So they use these old materials to build their chicken houses. So normally there are materials that are already damaged, that are not in the best condition. So sometimes we will say it's like as easy as to build like new materials, but the situation of the people that live in these communities is that they don't have the money even to build these new materials. So they took advantage on whatever kind of materials they sometimes find it in the street, and they say, oh, this could be useful for the chicken house because they found some like a piece of wood or something. They bring it to their place, and at 2 months it will be already rotten. So just by giving them like new materials, good quality materials, is sometimes enough. I mean, it's not needed to build like concrete chicken houses or like very um, like something very developed. Is just something simple that work. Is you don't have to spend a lot of money on that.
Are the cats not a big problem during daylight hours because the chickens are out running around loose then, right?
Yeah, I mean, people has like different farming methods. Some people like to leave the chickens free during the day, and in the night they just get inside the chicken coop. Some of these chickens are almost all the time inside the chicken coop.
Mm.
But yeah, most of the attacks occur during the night because the only species we have four small wild cats in Costa Rica, and the only species which is completely diurnal is the jaguarundi. And the jaguarundi, we think that it predates more on a small rodents because it likes the pastures, so it's not very close to where the chicken houses are. But the ocelot and the oncilla, especially the ocelot, it gets a lot inside the chicken coops, and always by night.
Do these, is it typical that someone would just have a couple of chickens, or is this people who have dozens of chickens and chickens are the main source of their livelihood? And does the livelihood come from selling eggs, or are the chickens more raised for them to eat? Tell us about the economic situation with the chickens. And I'm sure it varies, but um,
Yeah, that's one important thing because we prefer to help small producers. We don't because actually small producers are the ones that need the help. The big producer that has like 30 chickens or more, they don't need help to build these materials. They can do it by themselves. And we help people that uses the chickens for their own. So it's for consumption. Sometimes they can sell some eggs or they sell a chicken to their neighbors or something, but it's not their main thing. Their main thing is to eat the chickens and the eggs. And also some of the people we have been working, they used to be poachers because they doesn't have the money to buy meat. So the easiest thing is to go into the mountain and kill a paca or whatever, and they eat wild animals. And right now that they have these secure chicken houses, they doesn't have the need to go and do poaching because right now they have all the protein that they will need for their day to day. So uh, that's another good thing of the project, I would say.
Do you have a place where you store materials, or do you have like Home Depot where you can go down and get the materials? How do you acquire the materials for people?
No, there's there's a depot very close to the communities where we work, but normally we just go and buy all the materials and we leave them in the places of our collaborators. So with the last person, we end up working on a chicken coop. Once the chicken coop is ready, they will have a lot of materials spent there. So the materials stay there until we start doing the next chicken coop, and we already have this. I mean, obviously, the people have like the space for keeping the materials. but normally they will have it because these people has like normally big properties because they have like a lot of pastures and sometimes they have a piece of forest also. So they have room for keeping the materials. But if there's someone that doesn't have the place, we just look for another collaborator who has, and we bring the material to the place of this one until we start the next one. And this is sorry, this is because we have been working in the same area, so it's easy to have the materials there. Yeah.
You mentioned collaborators. Are the collaborators are the people who help you go out and install or provide the materials, or is that what you mean by collaborators?
No, I mean the people from the community. I mean the people that's engaging in the project, the owners of the chicken houses.
Oh, okay. They're the collaborators.
So in other words, you can drop materials at one, they can use what they need and keep it there until you have the next need,
Right.
and then you move it.
Yeah,
And
the people become vested in the projects. They're not just rural people with a problem anymore. They're actually part of our project.
Right.
So Jose calls them collaborators, but once their hen houses are fixed, they're really all becoming part of our project, and they're talking to their neighbors. And so that's how the project is growing. And the people have a vested interest in helping. Also, most people have dogs, Carol, and so those dogs are out roaming around during the day, and that's why we don't have a lot of predation during the day.
how often do you do a coop? Is it a once a week thing, or once a day, or once a month? How often do you have one that you repair or provide materials to repair?
It depends because there are some chicken coops where the owner knows exactly what they want or what they need to repair it. So it can be repairing one day, but some others they just have like a very old chicken coop that basically the best thing is to put it down and bring and just build a new one. So for the new ones, it took around 2 weeks, something like that. But we are no like fully dedicated to this the whole month because we have a lot of things to do. We do some research also and education workshops also. So sometimes we have to be doing a lot of things at the same time. But normally it's like 2 weeks for building one chicken coop, like a new one from zero. And for the ones we have to repair, it's just to give the materials that the people will need, and it can be repaired in less than a week.
So with the ones that you have to replace, knock down and replace, do you go in and do that because it's too big a job for the people to do themselves?
Sometimes we help them, and we help them especially with volunteers for like constructors. Yeah, we put the people, we put the hands for them to do it like faster, and because I don't know anything about construction. So actually, the people, this is something nice about the people from the community because I can learn from them how to build chicken houses, and they know perfectly how to do it. The problem is that they don't have the materials. So I ask them, and also these people, they have their own works, and it's like an informal job. So once, I mean, in 1 week, maybe they doesn't have anything like to receive any economic income. So if 1 week they receive like a call from somebody that needs help in their farm or whatever, and they call them, they need to go. So they must leave the chicken coop without touching it from a week or something because they need to go and make some money for living. So because we don't want they lose a lot of time constructing these chicken coops, we put people for helping them. So this way they will construct the chicken coop faster, and they will have time for doing their other activities that they have to do for the day to day.
And how much of the time do you have to tell someone, no, we can't supply you because we don't have the funds to purchase the materials? Does that happen sometimes or a lot?
It happens sometimes. I wouldn't say a lot, but it certainly happens. Yeah, sometimes we have, especially when we have to deal with, I think research could be like one of the expensive parts of the project, because when we have to build like equipment like camera traps, because when we monitorize the chicken coops, we put a camera trap to see how it is working while we are not there. And so when we have to expand on camera traps and batteries and some other kind of equipment, uh, then we have to sacrifice the chicken coops, because we won't have the money for everything, and we have to do everything at the same time. Because if we just build the chicken coops but we don't monitorize them, then we will not be able to know how they are working, and we cannot do monitorize of the old chicken coops if we are not building new ones to improve the situation. So we have to play a little with both, but it has happened like 4 or 5 times where we haven't been able to help the people because we doesn't have the pounds.
To give
We
me,
have to monitor what we're doing to
Sure.
show that it's actually working.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't be convincing. We need to show evidence. Moreover, when we do that, Jose shares the pictures with the owners, with the people, and they just love looking at the camera trap pictures. The cats coming and then going away or whatever. And so it's important to involve them in the project.
In a in a in
No,
a,
sorry.
in a year, typical year, how much would you spend between the materials for the coops and the cameras and the batteries, the other costs that you might incur doing this? Do you know?
Like a total for the whole program function
For the year.
for the year, it will be it is around 45 and $50,000.
To give me an idea of what materials cost there, because I actually thought about moving our sanctuary there back in the 90s. And the reason we didn't go was we couldn't find a reliable source of food to feed 150 big cats. And the caging materials were not, they were not galvanized, and so they rusted out very quickly. If you were going to start from scratch, build a chicken coop for, say, 6 chickens, what would something like that structure cost?
It will be around $600.
So about $100 per chicken.
Yeah, it will be like a small chicken coop, and again, it will depend a lot on the materials you use. Right now, the wood is very expensive. Right now in the country, wood is very expensive, and but it's sometimes the best thing for doing it. Sometimes people just have a lot of woods in their properties because some trees have fallen or something. So sometimes we can use this wood also. Also, you need some permits to do it, but it's something that helps a lot because it reduces the cost of every chicken coop.
Do you have to have a permit to build a chicken coop?
No, not to build the chicken coop, to take advantage of wood that you have in your property. If you have a tree that falls down, even if the tree is inside your property, you will need a permit if you want to take wood out of the fallen tree.
Tell us a little what you can about the particular species, their habits, their size. Many of our people don't know what a margay is. They're more likely maybe to know what an ocelot is, but
Certainly not an ocelot.
yeah. So things like how much do they weigh? What do they normally eat when they're not going after chickens? What kind of habitat do they like? Can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, so in Costa Rica we have 4 small wild cats. They go from bigger to smaller. We have the ocelot, the jaguarundi, the margay, and the oncilla. The ocelot is up to 15 kilograms, and the oncilla, which is the smaller one, it's around 3 kilograms. So the oncilla is like the size of a house cat, just like more beautiful than it because it has this amazing pattern in its coat. Um, So all of these, they eat like small mammals. The ocelot can eat armadillos, pacas, agoutis, like medium-sized mammals. But the other trees prefer like small rodents, birds, lizards. Sometimes I know that they are very opportunistic. The oncilla, which is the star of our project and the most special species we have in the country. The oncilla prefers small mammals, mice, especially mice and shrews. That way but if she finds a bird dwelling in the ground or whatever, she will go for it also. Um, the oncilla also has a very particular situation because we have oncillas with spotted coat patterns, and we have melanistic oncillas, which are completely dark, just like the jaguars and the panthers, which is the same species that have different colors. Same situation happens with the oncilla. So you can have them like spotted or all black. The ones that are black tend to be more active with bright conditions. It could be during the day or with full moon, and the other ones are completely nocturnal. Another thing, and this is the reason why we are working in the region we work, is that the oncilla is a specialist of cloud forests. So actually, the community where we are working is at the base of the highest summit we have in Costa Rica, which is the Cerro Chirripó. And these people live like in the lowlands in the lowlands of these hills, and they have this interaction with the ancilla. So the ancilla happens in cloud forest, but it can go to the communities nearby to see if she finds some food or whatever. And last week we had two situations. One of an ancilla that get inside a house because she was just like chasing the house cat of the people. And we got another video that someone put in Facebook that it was like an ancilla. I don't know, she was like very dehydrated. We got called for these situations also, and we try to help as much as we can. But yeah, these are the four species. The jaguarundi is maybe the most elusive of these four species that we have in the country. It's for me it seems like a very attractive species to know more about it because we doesn't know much, and the people don't get interested in it because it is diurnal. People says that its conservation status is like okay because it gets closer a lot to urban areas, so the people think that they get advantage of rural spaces. But we doesn't know anything about the jaguarundis. We don't know about the threats they have or anything. But yeah, these are the four small wild cats we have in Costa Rica, and Chile also has the situation that it is an almost endemic species right now. It's an endemic subspecies that we only have in the Talamanca mountain range in Costa Rica and Panama. So it makes it like a species of like a very Costa Rican species. So this is something that we use a lot for the people to like the species and to feel identified with it also.
I've never seen a melanistic oncilla before. Do they have black spots on a black coat like the leopard does, or is it solid?
They could, yeah, they could. That there are like different levels of melanism. So it could be like completely dark on you, or you can see some spots depending on the light it receives. Yeah.
Wow.
You mentioned doing research. Is that research separate or is that research related to this activity?
We do some related research, but it's more like social research with social science. We have anthropologists that, because we want to understand how the people from these communities perceive the small white cats or they perceive the oncilla. If they saw it like a threat, with the oncilla, we have realized that most of the people doesn't even know that it exists. They think it's just a small ocelot. And when we tell them that it's a different species, that it remains like this small size, the people says like, whoa, wow, we always have thought that it was a baby ocelot or something. But yeah, this is this is um, this is how we do the social part. And for research, we also work in the wild habitat of this species. So right now we have been understanding the distribution of the species and the habitat use patterns that they present. And we have been working because, as I told you, I used to work before with the prey of the oncillas. So I'm getting back in some way to work with the prey. But right now is to understand if the oncillas are eating healthy food or if they have like enough food for the future. So right now we are doing some sampling in an elevational gradient because this community where we work is around 1,500 of elevations, but this higher summit that I'm telling you, the highest part of Costa Rica goes up to 3,000 meters. So we are doing a sampling on this gradient where we put camera traps to see what small wildcats we have, and we put traps to capture rodents to see what different species and what's the abundance of rodents in the different levels of this gradient. And right now, what we have been seeing is like in some way, we think that the oncilla is the one that is controlling the diversity of the small rodents we have in these places. Because the species that is more common, which is oak seeds specialist, there's a small mice called the Talamancan deer mice. In some way, because it's the most common, when the oncilla predates it, it allows for the other species to be in with it. Because if there were no predators, the only mice species we will have is this one. And right now in this radius, we have found like 8 or 9 mice species that are coexisting there with the oncilla, and they can't coexist because the oncilla is there, or this is what we think at least. So yeah, we do some research, just like pure biology research, and we do social sciences as well to understand the perception of the people and to understand also what are the threats that this small wildcat faces.
And is the purpose, for instance, of that study where you are uh, determining that they play this role in keeping the diversity of the species by controlling the one would dominate? Do you use that information to try to explain why it's important to preserve the species? Is that its actionable result?
Yeah, not yet, but we will. And that's our intention because right now we are getting all the analysis and everything. And we started this as part of a student of mine is her thesis work. So we already have like some data, and we will continue doing the sampling going up because with her work we only get into 2,000 meters, but we are going up to understand what's happening in the higher parts. But of course, this is one of the good things that we want to show to people because normally people have a very bad perception about mice. So of course this is like a part of presentation for the people to like the oncilla. If we tell them that the oncilla is eating the animals that they don't like, it will be something for them to love the oncilla and to like.
Well, you can tell that Jim has trained us that if there's research, we want to know what the action is going to be as a result of the research, not just writing a paper.
Sure, of course.
See, Jim, we listen. We listen, Jim.
About how many of these camera traps do you have currently out there?
Right now we have only 20 camera traps set in the forest, and we have 5 with the chicken coops that are working right now.
How many people live in this community that have chickens, roughly?
This is a small community. It must be around 400 people, almost 400, 300 people.
With
Yeah,
chickens?
it's not a big community, and it's because if they live in this area that has like a very harsh topography, uh, so there are not many places where they can build their houses because it's like a mountain with big steep. So there's no like, yeah. So they are like small communities.
What do the camera traps cost?
A camera trap, well, you need to buy the camera trap with a lock and a metal case to protect it, and the batteries, everything on the memory card. Everything is around 150, between 150 and $200 each camera, depending on the brand.
And are they available local, or you have to import them?
Oh no, I have to import them.
Jose is being really modest here because he's actually an expert on Costa Rica's roads.
On Costa Rica's what?
He's an expert on Costa Rica's rodents.
Rodents, yeah. Thank you.
And you still like the cats even though they eat the rodents?
Yeah, actually, at the beginning, when Jim made me the offer and start working on this mobile cats project, I think about it, because it was like, oh, this is like working with the enemy. But at the end, with the Oncilla, I realized that it happens exactly the same thing that with mice. With mice, the problem is that the people doesn't know them. I mean, mice provide a lot of ecosystem services as well, and the people just doesn't know, so they think that that all the things they do is to bring diseases and plagues, and they damage things. And the Oncilla happens the same situation. Nobody knows about the situation. Nobody knows what it is, and it's, I think, in part is because the same thing as rodents, because they're small. So people like the big, charismatic species like jaguars and pumas and tapirs, because they are huge and they are, of course, they are very impressive to watch, and they're very interesting. But the small species, they just get put it in aside, and yeah. So in some way, I feel a lot of empathy for the Oncilla on this situation, and I feel it happens in some kind of way the same thing that with the small mammals. So at the end, I like the move. They made a great team together.
Do you have a team? Like, is it just you going around and setting up these operations, or do you have people that you work with regularly?
We have a team, and we are trying to make it bigger each time. Yeah, I have Juan Carlos. He's the one that has been with me since the beginning of the project. Juanca is a genetics expert, because that one was one of the questions we have around the Oncilla, because its taxonomic status has been unsolved for the last year. So right now we are getting into it. We have people that help us with videos and pictures, which are photographers. We have veterinarians, and we have people in design also that will start helping us to make some materials for promoting the project, and educational materials as well. So I'm putting together a team of people that brings like different expertises to the project, so we can work in different areas. Of course, also people from social sciences as well. Actually, I appreciate a lot the opportunity you are giving me, and I appreciate this superpower you have, because sometimes for us it's kind of hard to know how to reach to new people, or to different people. So we really appreciate this kind of collaboration. Just for me, the simple fact of you speaking with someone about our project while drinking a coffee, it will be amazing. But if you can post some things and reach a higher audience, well, it's amazing.
Happy to do it.
Our paper came out saying that showing that the Oncilla, and that tiger cat that occupies the Andes all the way down to Argentina is, in fact, a new species. It's a species unto itself.
And is this the one
that paper came out 2 weeks ago?
Is this the one you had a different name for that you were telling us about?
Yeah, we're calling it the clouded tiger cat.
I like that,
because it lives in cloud forest. And the one in Costa Rica, they call the Oncilla or Oncilla, but it's part of that population, that new species that goes from Costa Rica all the way down to Argentina, but it's not continuous. So in after the Talamanca Mountains in southern Costa Rica and northern Panama or western Panama, there's the Darien. It's called the Darien, which is, it doesn't have the Ancilla. It's not there. So you have a disconnected population in Costa Rica, Panama, that is very important to protect because it's a unique population and it's separated from the others. So if it went extinct, we'd be losing a significant population that exists nowhere else.
Could you send me that paper, Jen?
Yeah. It's how many authors are there? Jose's an author. I'm an author. Today I'll push it through. There must be 25 authors.
Wow.
Anybody that was interested in anything, Tiger Cat was adding to that paper because we had to have everybody because data is so limited.
Yeah, and right now we are working on a paper also just about the distribution and the habitat use patterns of the what we call now the clouded oncilla or the clouded Central American oncilla. So it's a paper that speaks just about the subspecies we have here in Costa Rica and Panama. Because as Jim is saying, I mean, they are the same species, but the one we have here is isolated from the one in the Andes. So their habitat requirements has to be kind of different, or we are trying to understand it.
Carol, you could look at this cat, and it's difficult even for experts to tell the difference between it and a margay. Mm-hmm. So we looked at it for, Jose and I saw one and looked at it for a long time. It's a margay. No, it's an uncia. No, it's a margay. And finally we decided, well, if we can just touch the nape hair on the back of the neck, we would know which species it is.
How would you know that?
Yeah, it's funny because, well, that's one thing that I have learned. I have learned a lot from Jim and from Tadeo how to ID these two species because they're very hard. And once with Jim, I want to do like an experiment with Tadeo. So I sent him a picture of the only oncilla that we have in captivity here in the country. I sent him a picture, and he told me, "Oh no, this is a margay." So a few weeks later, I sent him a video of the same animal, but it was a video, so you can see it like moving. And he told me, "Oh, this is an oncilla." And I kept him like this, like for a few months, and I told him, Tadeo, that is the same individual that I was been showing you. And he couldn't believe it, and it was an oncilla. It was an oncilla. So yeah, the real difference is like the way the hairs of the nape grow. So the ocelot and the oncilla grow the hairs in the nape are going forward.
Ocelot and margay are closely related with the Andean cat, and it grows forward.
Forward, yeah.
All the cats, it grows backward.
Isn't that interesting?
All we do is have to touch the nape of the neck, and we know which it is.
Well, that can be a hard thing to do, but yeah.
Well, now I know. Now I know I'm like an oncilla.
That's why I keep yelling at Jose. You got to touch the back of the neck. You got to touch the back of the neck.
Well, this has been so helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks to you for the time. And yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is a huge opportunity to let everybody know what's going on. Jose and Carol has a following that you can't believe how huge it is.
Great.
All righty. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.